So just get comfortable here. If you're able to minimize any environmental noise, or just tune into yourself here, get yourself comfortable. And as we usually start, I think it's useful to really tune into actually the physical body first, the form. So really feeling gravity and the weight of the body on the chair and into the floor. It's almost like tending to that activated and pressured physical form. And as you bring some attention to it, it can start to soften. It can start to let go of some of the protection and holding. And as the pressure releases from specific battles the energy is engaged in, you start to come into more of a quality of unity within yourself, a quality of wholeness. Like physically, it's like the body becomes more homogeneous. Even the boundaries of the body can become a little bit porous. So again, tuning into that homogeneous quality throughout the physical form. And when I have an instinct to speak, I'm just going to take a little more time with it. I'm going to wait maybe twice as long before I actually talk. So perhaps you're feeling into a little bit of inner quiet here, or maybe there's a part of you that's really not comfortable with that some anxiety or a lot of mental chatter might arise in relationship to that. And I want to just suggest that's okay. We can just be with whatever's here for you. That's what's required to come into the balance, into the harmony. Kind of a quality of acceptance. But I also want to really honor your own consent in this process. So if anything feels really uncomfortable, like you just can't take it, I want you to know that you can also break away. You can open your eyes, you can adjust yourself, you could wave at me if you need me to even take a break and talk to you. The point here is not to push ourselves to get into a particular state. It's really to explore what's present for us at any moment. Really coming into a real acceptance of our own being and the ways we're organized. So I'm just going to invite you to notice, let's start with the feet and the toes, and just really imagine or invite in a quality of space into all those joints. I think there's like 26 joints in each foot. It's really a ton of joints. So just imagining that There can be more space in between each bone. And I feel a little stirring in my belly. I'm feeling other energy activated in other parts of my body as I put that prompt into my system. And I'm just following that. I'm just curious about it and giving space and permission for the energy to move or adapt or evolve however it wants to. And you might feel this differently. For me, I'm feeling a negotiation between my heart space and my belly. So the fire and air are kind of coming into balance, and the diaphragm is softening. The diaphragm is another neutral space. It's a dividing line between the positive and the negative, upper half and lower half. So maybe just inviting your diaphragm to be soft and elastic. And with that, you might feel a little more space between the ribs. And feeling those shoulder blades could soften and have more space between the rib cage and the shoulder blade. They can kind of glide and move. As you open space, you're going to have some movement. And if you're feeling any emotional tones, I want you also to just hold a kind of space for that too. So not judging or needing to change that, but just being kind of neutral with it, giving it permission to adapt or evolve or move however it wants to. And maybe opening up the joints of the arms here, the elbows, the wrists, each hand, fingers. Again, inviting a quality of spaciousness. All that compression that happens in the joints from labor, from being on our phones and computers, from the emotional protection pulling ourselves in around our hearts and chests. Just creating more space here for ourselves to expand. One thing sometimes you might notice is some exhaustion from just having held yourself together tightly and guarded for a long time. When you start to let go of that, you can feel some of the tiredness behind that. Maybe taking in now the vertebrae of the spine. Just inviting more space between each vertebrae, allowing those cushions to expand, inviting the bones to glide and come into alignment. And with that, you might also feel the sacrum and tailbone expanding and separating. The sacroiliac joint between the sacrum and the hip bones in the back. Just opening space there. It's really the keystone of our structure. And it holds a lot of energetic tension from walking around and holding our bodies up in space. So just inviting more space here, more movement. And the hip joints themselves, those heavy femur bones and the acetabulum and the connection of the greater trochanter, the area where the leg bone meets the pelvis. You just want to invite space in that big joint there. Just inviting the whole pelvis to widen, and all those joints in the pelvis, the pubic bone, the ischia, ilia, sit bones and the hip bones. And also let's invite some space in the knees and ankles. Softening, widening. If you need to stretch or adjust yourself, now that you have more space, you can do that. And finally opening up the joints in the head, each suture. There's many joints in the cranial bones. Just imagining spaciousness and softness there. Those bones can glide and move. And the membranes within the cranium kind of give form to the head. Just softening those as well. So now feeling into the fullness and wholeness of your body as a unified organism. And you might invite space even on a cellular level, or between the molecules, even you can imagine more space throughout the body. And really offering your heart more space too, so that emotions in the chest or in the gut, just holding a wider field, so those, whatever they're engaged in, if there's any struggle there, they can kind of soften out of that struggle. And now really holding a wider space around your whole body, so maybe 8 to 10 inches out beyond the limits of the skin. Just feeling that there's space around you too, that you can expand into. There's space here and containment. You're still attuned to the body. You're not drifting off into outer space. You're just feeling the space around ourselves. And just feel into the space of the room, so a little bit wider space here. And also, let's attune into the space between ourselves. So we're also holding a virtual field here. The 6 of us, each in our own physical spaces, but there's also a unified space between us. And you might be feeling a little bit of settling or peace. You might also feel a little bit of life force, some things being stirred up too. And that's okay. You know, part of what we're doing here is both settling some things and awakening some things. So giving space for energy to move. And I'm going to invite you to stay with where you are. I want to play this. These are Tibetan sound bowls, so relating to the ether element in terms of sound. I really thought these were nice. Here we go. These are attuned to each chakra, so they're starting with the root chakra here. second chakra. Third chakra. The heart chakra. crown. Okay. So take your time coming back in here.